Today, there are 2 million descendants of French-Canadian immigrants living in New England. These are our stories. Welcome to the French-Canadian Legacy Podcast.
Venez tous jeunes filles et garçons, je vais vous raconter l'histoire de notre immigration ici au USA, de grands aventuriers, de pays étrangers.
This is the French-Canadian Legacy Podcast. I am Jesse Martineau. And one of the things we really like to see here at the French-Canadian Legacy Podcast is when a development in the area kind of gets the Franco-Americans excited. Like, we really like when a project gets people talking and gets people invested in French-Canadian cultural identity. Well, the project started by our guest this week is one such project. Renee McMaster is the owner of the HotMess Poutine Truck, a food truck that people have been talking about all over southern New Hampshire. Basically, not just about poutine, but about the place where the poutine is from. So it's awesome to have her on the show. Renee, welcome to the French-Canadian Legacy Podcast.
Oh, thank you, Jesse. Thank you for having me.
Now let's start with your story. So where are you from? You do not have a southern New Hampshire accent. I will
No. Actually, I'm from Saint-Cyprien. That's a really, really small town. It's more like it's south of Quebec. It's maybe like an hour and a half south of Quebec, close to Saint-Georges-de-Beauce. People probably know more Saint-Georges-de-Beauce. Saint-Cyprien is really, really small. I grew up there, and it's a village. It's not really a town. You know? So that's why I grew up there with my parents. And I have two sisters, a brother, and actually one of my sisters still live there at Saint-Cyprien. And my mom, who's still alive, she's in St. George. My oldest sister, Jeanette, she's in St. George too, and so that my brother Marcel is in St. George, and my dad passed away 8 years ago. So yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, now I'm curious, growing up in a village in Quebec, what, if anything, did you hear growing up about New England and about the Franco-Americans? I'm just kind of curious.
Well, actually, yes. My father, he was a lumberjack.
Nice.
In
That's
Maine.
awesome. Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah, he actually worked there for 33 years.
Wow.
He had his pension check, American pension check, and but he used to go back and forth in Canada. We never live in US. So he worked there for 33 years, all over Maine.
Wow.
So my father I was little, because he was filing the taxes.
Sure.
So he gave me my social security number, the American social security number.
Wow.
That's kind of funny because I'm the only one who got it.
And awesome.
That was almost like that was meant to be, you know. I'm the only one who's here now. Yeah. So for my dad, it was huge. At that time, he had a visa, a working visa.
Sure.
But like I said, he never lived in US. So for me to move in US, it was huge for him, you know. So he had the chance to see that a little bit. I decided to move in US when I was 27 years old.
Okay.
I moved to Florida, actually.
Now, why? What brought you to the States?
Well, actually, I was a construction worker.
That's awesome.
Yes. I was doing drywall.
Nice.
So a company from Quebec hired me to go to Florida because they need people over there. So I start very at the beginning of the step, you know. So I start with doing some drywalls, doing some cleaning, and
Sure.
And then after that, I learned the framing, metal framing. And then I decided to learn how to read the blueprint. So I had a teacher on the site who was teaching me how to read the blueprint. And at that time, I didn't speak English very much.
I was
think
going to
I
ask.
speak like three or four words.
Okay.
That's that. And I had to learn very quick.
I can't imagine a lot of French speakers in Florida.
There is, but the fact that they all hang out together and
Gotcha.
and they don't want to learn the language. Me, I was kind of, oh no, I don't want to do that. If I have to do that, I just have to go back to Quebec. That's not my intention. My intention is to learn the language. So I'm here for that. So I'm going to do that. So by that time, I used to have a temporary visa.
Okay.
I have to renew every 10 months. So every 10 months, you have to get out of the country. And
Gotcha.
yes, go see your lawyer, immigration lawyer, sign the paper, and come back after 48 hours.
That does not sound like a good time.
Start it again. So you have a driver's license only for 10 months. So every 10 months, you have to restart it.
No, that's not a short commute from Florida. That's for sure.
Yes. And after that, I got an offer in New England, actually. Better benefit, better money. So, and then already had a friend. He was in Vermont, so I decided to move. And actually, my last job that I did was the Exeter High School.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's how you ended up in the New Hampshire Seacoast.
Yes, I was there for 2 years. I was actually in charge of the layout and the framers. I had 26 guys.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Yes. And that's where I met my husband, actually.
You met him at Exeter?
Yes, my husband, he was in charge of the plumbing at that time. And
that's awesome.
I was supposed to go back to Canada. Actually, my next contract was in Vancouver.
Gotcha.
But I met my husband, and the rest is a story.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Now, yeah, this is a long story.
I love the story. No, this is so cool. Now, nothing you've mentioned so far has anything to do with the restaurant industry or
no.
Now, how did you get into running a food truck?
Well, actually, so that when I met my husband, I had my daughter, Miley. Miley had a brain tumor.
Oh, wow.
So she had a brain tumor removed when she was 4 months.
That's terrifying.
And the work I was doing before, you're never home, you're always far. There was no way for me to do that again. So I said, I need to find something close to home to take care of my daughter. And I decided to go for a different kind of job. I think I worked for Home Depot for 5 years, and then I was a substitute teacher for 2 years. But the passion wasn't there.
Gotcha.
So, and I always liked to cook. My grandmother was a good cook. She actually raised 13 kids, so she was.
Oh, wow.
She was a good cook. My grandmother was a good cook. My mother was a good cook. So it's something inside of me that I want to come out,
Sure.
So I decided to take some classes. I said I'm gonna go for some professional cooking class.
Okay.
So I went to Chez Boucher. That's a cooking school in Hampton, New Hampshire. I don't know if you heard about it.
No, I'm not familiar.
Yeah, it's actually a French cooking. It's in the restaurant. That's the restaurant Chez Boucher.
Gotcha.
But they have classes there. And
that's awesome.
So I decided to take those classes. So that was classes for, I think that was for maybe 3 months. That was very short, but
sure.
So I start those classes until December, and December I already had a job at St. Thomas High School. It's a private school.
Sure, in Dover, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So they hired me for cooking, and so I was very grateful to, to be able to practice my skills. And
sure.
Yes. So I was there for a couple of years, and then I said, well, I'm 47 years old, and I have passion, and I just cannot do it, Cooking for somebody else is one thing, but sometimes you say, oh, I would put a little bit more on this, and
Sure.
there's a lack of flavors, or this is just not your recipe.
Right.
So I said I have to decide what I'm gonna do. So, and like I said, 47 years old, I said I gotta do it now. So that's why I decided to go with the food truck, because the food truck, it's a big hit, huh?
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's getting really, really popular more and more. And the good thing about that is you move around and you meet a lot of different people and make connection. Like just I met you, Jesse, at the Multicultural in Concord.
Yeah.
I never met you before.
That's right.
Means I was following you, of course, but
Well,
yeah,
I appreciate that.
yeah, I never met you. So it's kind of fun to meet a lot of different people. But the idea of the poutine, I guess, is when you're not in your country, and every time you go to your country, okay, you want to see your family, but the first thing in your mind is, oh, I need a poutine, I need that hot mess, you need something hot, and it's cold outside and you need that. So I said, hey, okay, these people who make poutine over here around, they're delicious, but this is not the poutine when I grow up, it's different, where I grow up, there has to be a poutine gravy.
Gotcha.
Not a brown gravy. It's a poutine gravy.
It's just for poutine and used for nothing else.
Yes, exactly. And that tastes differently because there's that little ting to it. It's a little bit tangy.
Sure.
It's not like a straight beef broth,
Right. Or like a chicken gravy I've seen some places too.
Yes. So if you don't have that ting, this is not a poutine gravy. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So you need a good gravy. You need like a thick gravy. Like my mom said, the French fries has to hold the gravy, So
right.
You need something thick. And of course the cheese, the squeaky cheese.
Squeaky cheese is really important for sure.
Very important, but it's very hard to find squeaky cheese over here around.
Yeah, where do you get yours, if you don't mind me asking?
Actually, it's from a farm in Vermont, the Maple Farm in Vermont.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
that's cool.
They actually make the cheese by hand over there. So
nice.
It's pretty close that the squeaky cheese we have. But the reason for the squeaky cheese is this is a different regulation
Okay.
in Quebec. When they make the cheese, they let the cheese out. Okay,
sure.
They don't put the cheese in the fridge.
Gotcha.
The cheese out. This is not the same regulation than here. Over here,
right.
You can that has to be right away in the fridge when they
sure.
So
right.
that's why you don't have the squeaky cheese. So if you go to Quebec, you go get a bag of cheese or whatever. It's not gonna be in the fridge. It's gonna be like
sure.
on the shelf, close
right.
to the fridge. But this is the squeaky cheese you're gonna get. But after a couple of days, there's no more squeaky cheese, and now it's in the fridge. You know what I'm saying? It's still good for the poutine.
Yeah.
But you see the difference.
That's funny because I remember one of the times I went up with my dad and my uncle. They were checking in with this place, Saint Leonard d'Aston, this town where they had spent a lot of time, like during the summers and stuff, because they had family that was still up in Quebec, and so we were going up there. We're visiting with this family, and they handed us a bag because they were living on a farm. They handed us a bag of that legitimate squeaky cheese, and I can tell you, every single bit of it was gone before we ever made it back to the out to the border. Yeah, we hammered that.
Yeah, that's where I grew up. We had a bag of squeaky cheese and a bag of barbecue chips and a Coke. all this together. Yeah.
This was what I find fun is that this food truck is the very first food truck. You never even worked at a food truck before
Nope.
you decided to buy one yourself and start it.
No,
I think that's way
no.
fun.
I never worked to a food truck, and actually, my husband and I built a food truck too.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So when we buy the food truck, there was just a FedEx truck. There was nothing in it, just like the box. And we did the design, and we buy the equipment brand new, and we build the whole thing. And
Awesome.
my my husband is a pipe fitter. He's actually a supervisor for 537 in Boston.
Nice.
And my stepson, one of my stepson, the oldest, is a pipe fitter too. And my other stepson is a plumber.
Okay.
And my stepdaughter's husband is a pipe fitter. So I had a lot of help.
Yeah, apparently you did. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Now,
so everybody has their work to do.
now it's funny. Now I have to ask. I know the answer because I've looked. Maybe you can tell the listeners. Where'd you get the name from?
Oh, the hot mess?
Hot Mess. Where'd you come up with Hot Mess Poutine?
Well, hot mess actually, if you look at poutine, it's really messy.
For sure.
Nothing is more messy than a poutine. And the gravy is hot, so that has to be a hot mess.
Now, because you mentioned that we connected at the Concord Multicultural Festival, and I
Yeah.
have to note there's a million people there, and by far the largest line was for the Hot Mess Poutine. It was awesome.
I'm so glad to hear that because we didn't really have the time to look. We were so busy, but that was a big hit for us, and hopefully we'll be able to be there again.
Nice.
That was very, very exciting for us to be there. That was a first I think that was a first probably for the poutine too.
Oh yes,
Yes.
absolutely. And for me, it's cool to be going up to a multicultural festival and seeing one of them trucks flying the Quebec flag, which you do outside your place.
Yeah.
I thought that was super neat.
Yes. Yeah, the Quebec flag is always there.
That's awesome. Okay, that's very cool. Maybe you can tell us a little bit because I don't have any idea. How many people does it take to operate this truck? What does it look like on the inside of a Poutine food truck?
Oh, okay. Well, actually, sometimes I have 4 people. Um, of course, you need a girl at the window, and there's a girl who's doing the potatoes because we have the end cut potatoes. So somebody has to cut the potatoes, and then we have to blanch the potatoes after that. It's another thing we have to do. It takes a little bit more longer, but it's worth it.
Sure.
And then we have to fry the potatoes. And then there is like a section in the truck. It's only for the poutine area because we're making smash burger too. I don't know if you know that.
I did not.
We're making some smash burger. So, me, I'm more in the area of the smash burger, and there's a girl who's taking care of the poutine area. So everything is on her side. We got all the toppings. Actually, the toppings change pretty much every week.
Okay.
Except the most popular one, of course, traditional is always there. And actually,
Sure.
my gravy is from Quebec. So this has been shipped from Quebec, the gravy. So
Nice.
This is the real thing.
Yeah, it's authentic. Yes.
It's authentic, yes. And then we got the cheese from New England, so it's a good combination.
It is perfect.
And then we have the topping, like the beef brisket, very popular.
Yeah, I saw that. So what's in the beef brisket?
The beef brisket?
Yeah, because I did see that on your Facebook page that you had the beef brisket. So I needed to ask, what goes into the? Is it? Do you guys do that all yourself in the truck?
Yes. Actually, yes. It's the beef brisket is cooked very slowly with a lot of hours and in the oven, and it just fall apart,
That's awesome.
I have my spices, and
That's
those
cool.
are top secret.
I got you. Well,
Yes.
maybe you can tell us what a smash burger is. What's
Oh
that
yeah,
about?
smash burger. It's actually pretty good. You take it's actually a nice Angus ground beef,
Sure.
and then you have to roll it, and then you put on the griddle, and then you have a smasher. You actually smash it very thin, very
Okay.
thin. But what does that do is you can see around it, you can see the crust around it, and the middle is really, really juicy.
Nice.
And then when we build the burger, we have a special mayo. I have like a tomato, bacon, mayo. I have a
That's
garlic.
awesome.
So I have like 3 or 4 different kind of burgers. One is the classic, of course, with
Sure.
the red onions and American cheese. And the hot mess is pretty popular. It's with the caramelized onions and the bacon. And we have the jam burger. The jam
Jam.
burger is with it's a bacon onions jam.
That sounds
We,
amazing.
I put on the top of the meat.
Yeah, I could hammer that.
So
No question.
when you take a bite, you have all the flavor together. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like
So,
a good time.
but if you like thick burger, you may not like that. But this is thin burger. But they're
Yeah.
really, really juicy.
I'm sure
Yeah.
it would work for me. No question. Now, another thing I did see on the menu, at least at some of the places, was something called a pizza poutine.
Mm-hmm.
What
Yeah.
is that about?
Yeah, there's something I tried when I was in UNH because we went to UNH like a month ago,
Sure.
and there was a special event over there. So I said, well, okay, the student they likes the French fries, they like the pizza. What I'm gonna do? So I decided to put in pizza, and it came out pretty good actually. Of course, with a homemade marinara sauce, and what you do is you just take the French fries, the curd cheese. You still put the curd cheese in the bottom,
Sure.
and then you put your pizza sauce, and then you put some mozzarella cheese. And what I do, you know those little torch burner you use for
Yeah.
creme brulee, but
Yeah.
I burn the cheese with that.
Nice. Okay, a little
So
cinch.
it looks like a pizza, you know. So
That's awesome.
it's melting, and then you put some fresh basil on the top. That's very, very good, actually.
Oh, that's cool. And then the
Yeah.
last I needed to ask about was the double gooey
Oh
poutine.
yeah, the double gooey. Yes, it's a new one that I started. This one in Canada we like the curd cheese, but we like the mozzarella shred cheese too.
Okay.
At high school we used to have the shred cheese for the poutine. So we used to climb onto the chair and pull the cheese up, you know. So it kind of remind me that a little bit. So that poutine is I actually put the French fries, of course, and then I put the mozzarella and the curd cheese, and then I put the gravy, so it got really, really gooey because it's 2 different kind of cheese.
Sure.
And what is very important too when you make a poutine is do layers. You
Okay.
know, we put a little bit of French fries. You put the cheese in it, and you put the gravy in the middle, and then we put some more on the top and more gravy because you want to have the gravy that goes all the way down.
That's awesome.
Because if your gravy stick, it's gonna stay on the top.
Oh, good.
If your gravy is too thin, it's going right to the bottom where you have nothing on the top. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
this is the perfect poutine. That has to be a perfect balance.
I love that.
Yes.
Now, does your how often does your menus change? Do you do something kind of different for every festival, or what can they
Oh,
expect? Somebody that finds you, they can just know that you're probably gonna have a new invention for that particular event.
well, yeah, exactly. But what I do right now, because we just started on 2019, I'm trying to figure out what the customer likes.
Sure.
Uh, what we want to do is to make them happy.
Sure.
If there's a poutine is very popular, of course it's gonna stay in the menu.
Sure.
An example like um, the chili poutine is very very popular.
What's that about?
I made a special chili. It's
Chili.
yeah, it's made with bacon and a little bit of beer in it. I'm not gonna lie, I put a little bit of beer in it.
That's appreciated here at the French
But
Canadian
it
Legacy.
tastes pretty good. Yeah, the chili poutine is very popular. In Quebec, it's not because chili is not popular. That would be the
Sure.
bolognese,
Gotcha.
the Italian poutine we call.
Right.
Um, but here, I tried the bolognese, and no, people like the chili poutine. So the bolognese can go. This is the chili poutine. We live in New England, so you go with
No, of
but
course.
New England once.
Now, is there like a test kitchen where you try these things out?
Yeah, almost. You need to know what they like. Um, there's always like the shepherd pie one was really popular too.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I like to change. I like to keep the traditional, the chili, the brisket, and but after that, I like to try different things. I even made the gravy, the maple syrup gravy. It was really really good.
Wow.
This one, it's the main basic of the poutine gravy, the authentic one,
Sure.
but it's a twist of maple syrup in it, and it's
Oh,
delicious.
wow. That
Yeah,
sounds awesome.
yeah.
Now, I will say, if you ever need people to test, I think Mike and I could volunteer. We could be there
Oh
pretty
yeah, no
quick.
problem.
We're open to it. Now, I would think just generally, we hear about poutine is that for a long time, at least in New Hampshire, it wasn't considered like the cool dish. It was something that had been around. People have been familiar with it, but only in the last 5 or 10 years has it become hugely popular. And
Yes.
I'm just curious, what was your growing up in Quebec? Was poutine just something that everybody ate all the time anyway?
Well, actually, my parents, we never eat poutine every week, or we're eating pretty healthy. But of course, each time you go to a restaurant, there is a poutine on the menu. Every restaurant's got their poutine.
Yeah,
Even McDonald's got poutine.
right.
And they're really really good.
I've had it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's something. It's almost like the burger in US, everybody has a burger
Sure.
in their menu, but in Canada it's poutine. Like I told you, high school, we used to have a poutine. I think there was one every 2 weeks maybe, and we were like, wait, we have poutine.
That's awesome.
But yeah, we grew up with poutine. I don't know, there's just, but it has to be the right balance, you know. Everything is good in moderation. Uh, that that's why I got three different size in my food truck. I got the mini, I got the regular, I got the big one.
Yeah. I hammered a big
Everything
one.
is good
Sure.
in moderation. There's nothing bad about that.
No, yeah, big one works for me. All right, well, this has been a blast. This has been way, way fun. If somebody wants to get in touch with you, follow you, find out where you're going to be next, where can we send them?
Well, actually, you can follow me on Facebook, HotMess Poutine Food Truck, and I have um, I have one on Instagram as well at Gooey Cheese.
That's awesome.
And don't forget, I don't know if you saw that, but we always use the hashtag Poutine Snob.
Poutine Snob.
Snob.
Nice.
So this is something we started with the girls because the girls who helped me out, they never had poutine before.
Okay.
Start the poutine, eat the poutine, and they said, "No, we are poutine snobs because they eat the authentic
There you
poutine."
go.
So it's something we started. So when somebody really like the poutine and think the poutine is authentic, hashtag poutine snob.
That's
So
awesome.
that means it's something really authentic.
I like it.
So yeah, Poutine Snob. If you go to Poutine Snob, you're gonna find HotMess Poutine in it.
That's cool. Now,
Yeah, because we just started.
very awesome. Well,
Yeah.
again, we've been talking to Renee McMaster of the HotMess Poutine Food Truck. Renee, thank you so much for joining us. This has been way, way fun. If you are in the area, you have to check out this truck. It was awesome. It's a really good time. Make sure you find it. Thank you very much, Renee.
Thank you for having me.
Now our fathers look at us and sigh with despair, to think that everything they love we simply do not share. But the spirit never dies, our culture will survive. Each of us must choose how much to keep alive. Each of us must choose how much to keep alive.
Special thanks to Josie Vachon for providing the music. You can find more about her at josievachon.com. This podcast was produced and edited by Mike Campbell. If you have any questions or comments, please email us at fclpodcast@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at FCL Podcast for more information about the topics discussed. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you listen to this episode.